want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast from the Cubs room. And here we are. Raj, what do you think?
Great.
Is this crazy or what?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
People don't always say about me what they want to say when they come into the Cubs room, but some of them think I'm insane, and some of them say it. But it's okay. It's a neat little room here. So we're going to get started on the podcast here. Before we do, though, before I introduce my guest, don't forget, you can go to the-greater-purpose.com and you can catch up on all of the previous 64 episodes. This is number 65. That is amazing in itself. We did receive an award. This is an award-winning podcast. And I do want to say that although it has my name on it, that is not what it's about. The podcast is about you and it's about our guests. So I want to say thanks to our guests who have been amazing. And to all of you who watch, who share your comments and share the podcast and share your inspirations that you're getting from the podcast. So the Greater Purpose Podcast is officially an award-winning podcast. How do you like that? That's crazy, right? Pretty neat stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce my guest, Raj Ramkisson. I did it right. All right.
On the first try.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. No, that's great. No, that's the end of it. I got that part right. We can finish. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Raj. Tell everybody who you are.
Right. Well, firstly, thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you.
And congratulations on the award.
It's amazing, right?
Yes, it's an amazing podcast. Make sure and watch it.
Share it. Share, like, and subscribe.
Everything. All of the above.
Woo! Awesome. That's great. He's our new spokesman. Yeah.
So, I am Raj. I am from Trinidad in the Caribbean originally. Advertising that I am from the Caribbean.
That's right. I like that. What is Tobago?
Trinidad and Tobago, Twin Island Republic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Right?
I know nothing about it. Yeah.
That's fine. You're welcome to visit.
Yeah.
And then you'll know more.
I know, right?
And then you can do podcasts from Trinidad.
That'd be pretty cool, right? From Trinidad.
From Trinidad.
Yeah, there you go.
With the Ramkisson family.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
That's a big family, right?
Yes, big family. Big church.
Nice. Yeah. So I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago. So
yes.
Who knows? If God calls me, I'll go.
Well, maybe after this podcast, he'll call you.
You're right. Okay.
We'll call you more. Rephrase.
I've always told God I'll do whatever He calls me to do.
Yes.
But I've told Him I'm not a missionary. But if He calls me, I'll go. I have no, because Anna is in. By the time this is posted, she'll be back from Peru. And you guys went to Trinidad last year.
Yes.
And they got to meet your family and all that stuff there, right? So
they stayed at our home in Trinidad.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
That's while you stayed here.
Yes, while I stayed here.
That had to be kind of strange, right? Yeah.
Well, when we came here, the Lord works in mysterious ways. So my wife is a teacher, and that's how we ended up in the U.S. But before that, she always wanted to be a teacher, and her background was not in teaching. She was in business management.
Okay.
And her heart led her to teach.
Yeah.
And as a husband, your wife tells you she wants to teach. What would you say? Sure,
of course, absolutely, yeah.
So so she went into teaching, and then this opportunity came up, to come and teach in the U.S.
Nice.
And I was like, in the U.S. So back home in Trinidad, we have our own home house. We had good jobs and stuff in Trinidad. When COVID hit, everything took a downturn.
Right. Yeah.
The world turned upside down.
Yeah.
And, we were unsure what to do. The opportunity came to come to the US. And I didn't want to come.
Oh, wow.
I did not want to come.
See, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah,
No,
I did not want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not want to come. And I prayed with our pastor back home in Trinidad because my wife was excited to come. She was super excited when she got the interview, when she got the contract to sign,
Wow.
and I was working.
So she was praying to go, and you were praying to stay.
Yeah,
Right?
you can see that.
Yeah. Wow.
And I had a job. I had good jobs back home in Trinidad. I was a manager in charge of over 100 people.
Yeah.
I am MBA qualified.
Right.
And I teach accounting. I also almost a qualified chartered accountant, and I volunteer a lot. So when the Lord put this in our heart now, it flipped upside down.
Yeah, right.
In life, the world tells you go this way. You're married. You have your house, you have your car.
Right.
In your mind, you plot a course.
Yeah, we make our own plans.
Yes.
We make our own plans, right?
Right.
But God plans.
God plans. And the thing the strange thing about this is that, and I said, I didn't want it to come.
Yeah.
And I prayed. My pastor prayed with us in Trinidad at the time. And, I said, Lord, I said, I don't think I could do this. I said, you're asking me to leave everything that I have worked for, leave my family, leave my home. We are in Trinidad. We are the event coordinators for our church in Trinidad. We are the right hand of the pastor.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, right?
And we were involved in everything the church has. We were involved in.
Yeah.
And they were expanding the church. The first expansion I was involved in. So they were going into another expansion. And I said, Lord, I said, now is not the time.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
And the Lord put a word in my heart. And the word is this, he said, trust in him with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct my path. And we took a leap of faith.
Big leap.
Big leap of faith.
Right.
Because first thing is that we know no one here in the US when we come.
Wow. Nobody.
Wow. Sherry has an aunt in Maryland, and that's a good way off.
Yeah.
And so, we are coming into a country where we know no one. First thing is that. Second thing, we don't know where we're staying because of COVID and because of a third world country, we couldn't source a place to stay.
Right.
No vehicle, no anything, and it took a leap of faith. So in Trinidad, we had to sell our cars. She has one, I have one, and third world country, currency difference.
Sure.
We came here with $500 cash.
Oh my goodness!
In our hands.
It's next to nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, the Lord allowed things to happen.
Yeah.
He put everything in place so that, it was amazing to see that the Lord worked things out.
Yeah.
I had to step back. I had to step back personally and put my trust in him for he to provide for us. Because home in Trinidad, I have family, we have family, we have friends, we have church family.
Right.
If you're in a problem, you can rely on them. Up here, who do you rely on? No.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is that
God provided.
God provided. And what is even more amazing is that opposite her school is South Gastonia Church of God.
Right. Yeah, right.
Big up to Pastor Adrian.
That's right. There you go.
Big up.
South Gastonia Church of God. Yep.
So
right across from the school.
Right across from the school.
Lingerfeld. Yep.
So even before we left Trinidad, we knew that we fellowship at Church of God in Trinidad. Her uncle is the pastor at Church of God in Trinidad. Okay. So we know we come into Church of God.
There you go. He put it right there, didn't he?
Right there. Can't miss.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. That's sort of like, hello. Yeah. That's great.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Cool stuff. All right. Well, that's pretty neat. Yeah. So, all right. So I know you're going to expand on that a little bit more, I'm sure, as we're going forward, because some of the questions that we have will apply to that. I have no doubt at this point. So when did you first recognize the importance of being a godly man, becoming, we're not there. We haven't arrived. We get that. We know that. But you are attempting to walk the walk that Christ has you walking as a godly man. When did you recognize that?
Well, we are still on that journey.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Right. But somewhere along the way you had to say, I've got to be doing what God tells me to do. Besides moving to the United States before that, obviously, because that was huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
Yeah.
I would say that originally I was not born a Christian. my background is different in that, like my wife, she grew up in Christianity.
Okay.
But I did not grow up in Christianity. Right. I did not grow up home going to church and knowing the Lord.
Right.
My wife and I are high school sweethearts.
Oh, that's sweet. By the way, she's here. We don't usually tell who's in the green room back there. Oh, she's hiding. She's all the way back there hiding.
So when it is, that we started courting.
So if he's saying really good stuff about his wife, it's not just because he's here. He's here. He does that anyway. So, yeah. But so high school sweethearts.
School sweethearts, and when it is, time to get married, things we decided to, make it official and stuff like that. I seek blessings from her family. Listen,
and you knew that even though you weren't a Christian.
Yeah. I seek blessings from her family, make sure everyone was aware that I was going to ask her to marry me, even before her.
Oh, wow.
Her brother knew, her sister, her mom, aunties, everybody.
Yeah.
Make sure her family is aware of it.
Right.
And, and everybody said yes.
Okay. Good.
Including her.
Well, that's good. That's the important one. Yeah.
That's the important one. And, we had some challenges along the road because, previous pastors said, we were not we were
unequally
yoked as well too. And, we sought to bless the rings and stuff like that because, when we were engaged, we wanted to make it official, make sure it's correct in the eyes of the Lord. And, the pastor at the time, didn't understand, how it's supposed to function.
Yeah.
With a non-believer trying to come into the Christian world.
Right.
But, another pastor we would have went by and, we sought counseling, stuff like that. That is our home pastor in Trinidad, which is Pastor Vade Nukai.
Okay. Shout out.
Yes. He was here actually in South Gastonia.
Oh, okay.
He visited last.
Oh, gotcha. When that's who came with you. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to meet them. Yeah.
So, he would have counseled us. He would have mentored me, and, I started to go to church. And they brought me to the Lord.
There you go.
He would have baptized me.
Yeah.
And he would have been instrumental in my Christian life, in developing me, in moving me from a non-believer to a believer.
Amazing. See, that's great. So don't ever doubt, right? I mean, yeah. So that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yes, don't ever doubt. And most importantly is that, I had a dream. The Lord have given me a lot of visions and a lot of words of encouragement and stuff like that during our time.
Yeah.
After we baptized and stuff like that. But the most important thing I had was, I had a dream. And I was sitting talking to someone. I can't remember who it is at the time. Like in a table like you and I. And the question that was asked to me is that if I die, where would I go? Who do I believe in? And this was me, a non-believer.
Yeah.
And I couldn't answer that question.
Wow. Right.
I couldn't answer that question because I don't know.
That was God asking you the question.
Yeah.
Through somebody else in the dream.
Somebody else.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, and I wake up and I don't remember my dreams.
Right. Yeah.
My wife will tell me.
Yeah. Same
I don't remember.
You remember that one.
Certain dreams.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I said, Lord, I hear you. I hear you.
Amen. Cool.
And I went to the Lord, went to the pastor, baptized me, brought me to the Lord.
Yeah.
And he has one more crown on his he has one more jewel on his crown.
Absolutely, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so about how long ago was that? When was that?
Probably about 12 years ago.
Okay.
12, 13
All
years
right,
ago.
cool. There you go. Amazing. So that was your transformation, right?
That was my transformation.
Yeah. So, but through that process, then you had to be discipled and taught and studying the Word and in prayer, which is what brings you to the point where you're supposed to be attempting to be a godly man. Because it can happen in an instant.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's a progression of becoming a godly man. So
because during that time as well too, after we baptized and stuff like that, the Lord put a word in my heart because I am very dedicated worker in the secular world.
Yeah.
We hold good positions and stuff back home in Trinidad. And the Lord put a word in my heart. He said the same zeal and determination that I have for that secular work, he wants me to put it to work for his kingdom, for his glory.
Right. Yeah.
And he put that drive in me.
Yeah.
And, my wife and I, we went to our pastor and we said, we want to go into ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought, well, he will put me to work with some department or stuff like that. No, he had a different plan.
Yeah.
His plan was that he put us as in charge of ministry.
Yeah.
As leaders in ministry.
Yeah.
And
you tag, you're it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I up to this day, I will tell him, I said, I don't know why it is they didn't just allow me to work with someone. No, he said he saw something different in me.
Yep. That's the way God works. Yeah. He has a bigger plan.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen in you that drive being here, because some of I'm sure we may touch on this later, but they've gone through all kinds of diversity and struggles since you guys have been here, since COVID. Even in this short 4 years, it probably seems like 40 years to you guys.
Oh yeah.
But you've always remained steadfast and strong and faithful and dedicated. And also, I believe what I've seen is that you're not afraid to connect with other people, because if you're not connecting with like-minded Christians, then you're doomed to failure, because we can't do this on our own.
We
We've got to do it together.
Yeah. So another thing is that before COVID, and this is like a wow moment for me. So before COVID, in the US, you all live stream, you all broadcast, do podcasts and stuff like that. But back home in Trinidad, we're not all that high tech.
Okay.
So the Lord put a word in our heart years ago. This is before COVID. That we should share on Facebook our pastors preaching.
Oh yeah, sure.
And at that time, we didn't have internet in church.
Right.
We didn't have cameras, live stream, all these stuff like that. And, we went to the pastor in Trinidad, and, a lot of back and forth because, something new.
Sure.
Something new.
Yeah.
And, eventually we got the approval. And we started off just like with you.
There you go.
On our phone.
Yeah.
With a portable Wi-Fi device.
There you go.
And we started to stream. And you would not believe that we would have reached people all over the world. We reached people in Australia, in India.
That's awesome.
We had a pastor from India, Church of God pastor, reached out to us that he used to listen to our pastor in Trinidad preaching before he went to preach.
Wow. That was his inspiration.
That was his inspiration. And,
there you go.
And the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Sure. Yeah.
So when COVID hit and the church, we had to close the church because of, contagious and as, that's what they said.
Politics.
We had to close the church.
We're not going to go into that, but we all know, right?
Yes. Yeah. The Lord allowed it in such a way that the preaching never stopped.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
Even though the physical building is the church.
Because you were ready. You were prepared. Sure.
We were able to live stream and on Facebook, and we went to Zoom immediately. There was no transition.
You were already prepared. God already prepared.
Awesome.
Yep, that's great. Yeah.
And everybody was there. Yeah. Everybody, and then it was working so good that our pastor had to send us to other churches in order to help them with Zoom and set up their live stream.
Yeah.
So we went to another church, and miraculously is that when we came to the US, the exact same thing we set up, we were now looking at it.
Yeah.
Through that.
Watching, there you go. Oh, that's cool. So you're able to follow them,
Make a full circle.
That's nice.
What we set up in Trinidad, come to the US.
That's cool.
Yeah. Isn't the Lord amazing?
Yes, it is. Yeah, he is. So and then something that did transpire from COVID, from all the negative, the positive that transpired was the fact that everybody's live streaming now.
Yes.
Everybody's available. We want people in church, and you're supposed to be in church.
Correct.
But there's so much access now. There's no excuse for somebody not to be watching, listening, hearing the word. So that's cool. Neat stuff from Trinidad to here. So this pastor was clearly your biggest inspiration in becoming a godly man. Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there any other people you would, besides your wife, of course, anybody else you would say? Well, no, you can talk, you can elaborate. We're not going to hold you back here. So.
No. In the US here, I would say the inspiration is Pastor Adrian.
Yeah.
He is a great help. He is tremendous. Yeah. Pastor Gilly as well, former Pastor Gilly.
Yep.
Big up Pastor Gilly.
Yeah. And by the way, they've both been on the podcast, so go back and watch their episodes. Yeah, sir.
Yeah, and Chris White as well.
Yeah.
Make sure to look at Chris
his
White.
is on here too. Yeah. So, see all these great godly men. So yeah. I don't usually share about me, but since you said Adrian, I looked back to a conversation he and I had back in January of 2022, I think it was.
Okay.
And this past Sunday, actually it would have been 2 Sundays ago now, he preached my testimony in the morning and the evening service.
Wow.
They were both my testimony. So I sent him a message, and he may or may not remember that far back to that discussion, but it's still in my phone. So I went back and read that discussion. I was in a place, spiritually I was okay, but other things I wasn't sure. He and I had some great conversations. He's a great minister. He's not just a preacher. He's a good minister. He's great at delegating. He's good at administrating. He's just amazing. And he got all that from his grandfather, obviously, and his mom and everybody else. But what I'm saying is he was able to minister to me in that time so that God could minister to me to bring me to what he preached on that Sunday, which was basically my full testimony.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, yeah. So he is. But since you mentioned him, I thought I'd throw a shout out for Pastor Adrian. So cool.
So this podcast is not only about me, but also my good friend.
Yeah. It's not you. Sometimes it is. It just depends on where we're going with it. So, but yeah, there are a lot of connections. We have, obviously, that's our connection.
Yeah.
Is South. So yeah. So, but
Pastor Gilly is also a great inspiration.
Yep.
When we came here in the US, and he met us first time, and we told him about, our last name is Ramkisson. Say it, let me hear. Say it.
Ramkisson.
Ramkisson, right.
And he said it?
Yes.
Oh, good. He did all right.
Yeah, he told us actually that his good friends are Ramkissons.
Oh, cool.
And they have Ramkissons up in the US.
There you go. That's pretty neat.
So,
by the way, when you watch his podcast, make sure you go to the end, the sports story.
Okay.
It is absolutely hilarious. Totally hilarious. But anyway, so go ahead.
So when he asked us, that the Ramkisson family in the US always involved in mission work.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him at the time, I said, listen, we are not here to do mission work. I said, we are just here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
My wife wants to teach.
Right, I remember you saying that.
And then we are going back home. So as a godly man, that is what I thought would have been possible.
Right.
And that is what I thought my plan was.
Mm-hmm.
But as normal, the Lord have different plans.
He does.
So when South Gastonia Church found out that we were from Trinidad, Gail and Vicky and Bill and the whole entire team, wanted to come to Trinidad.
Sure.
And I don't know anything about mission, sorry.
Right.
My wife and I, okay, no problem.
Right.
They want to come to Trinidad.
You didn't realize what they were asking, did you?
No, but back home, we dedicated our house to the Lord.
Mm.
We had our 10-year anniversary Thanksgiving at our home and several other Thanksgiving as well too, and I told the Lord, I said, listen, you help me build this. You help me pay for this. I said, Lord, this is yours. I said, whatever you want, let your will be done.
Sure. Yeah.
So when they asked to come to Trinidad, and they had no place to stay because they have to pay for accommodation, we opened up our home to them.
There it was. Wow.
And the funny thing, well, not the funny thing, but not a coincidence, but the Lord has a plan.
Yeah.
At the time, we would have never met the Ramkisson family.
Okay.
Never met them up here.
Mm-hmm.
I knew of them because their father was instrumental in setting up the Church of God in Trinidad.
Oh, wow.
The Trinidad have about 100 and something Church of God.
Wow.
And
amazing.
his grandfather, which is J.D. Ramkisson, along with some other people, were instrumental in setting that up.
Wow.
And then they came up here to the U.S. So we knew that they were involved in it.
You knew about them, right?
I knew about them, but I've never met them.
Right.
And the Lord have a way of working things out. While the missionaries were doing missionary work in Trinidad, the Ramkisson family reached out to us. And we began, communicating, sharing stuff like that, and meeting, socializing. And then we realized that where that guy was born, which is J.D. Ramkisson, that is where I still live in Caparo, where we used to live.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And the Lord put a word in my heart while your daughter was in Trinidad.
Mhm.
You know, what the Lord said was that, just like, we arrange stuff for people, He wanted us to arrange a conference for pastors,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, no, that's the one he hit me with.
yeah, and it's amazing.
Not because I'm a pastor, but because I have other talents and skills that I can use. Yeah.
Yes, the Lord have a funny way of using you.
Yeah, he does.
Sometimes you may feel that, this is your calling,
Yeah.
and sometimes you may think, okay, this is not your calling.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that the Lord would have put this word on my heart.
Yeah.
And when He put that word, He not also just take it and rest it there. He light a fire below it,
Yeah.
and to
you
get it
can't-
done.
And you can't help it. You
No.
can't help but be excited about that. Yeah.
No, and it's not only for Church of God pastors. It is for all pastors in Trinidad, pastors and their wives.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah.
So when we went back home a couple months ago, we got the costing and price and stuff like that. How much is this costing? Could we do it? And we reached out to Pastor Adrian,
Right.
for guidance, for support, how to deal with this. And because for me, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
There are about 150 pastors in all over that in Trinidad. So we are looking at the pastors and their wives at about 300 people.
Yeah.
And that's a monumental undertaking.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So I say, Lord, if it is that you want me to do this, I said, I can't do this alone.
Yeah.
I said, you have to put people in our lives to help us.
Right.
And the first people we prayed with this was the Ramkisson family, Esther and the family.
Mm-hmm.
And, they supported us. They joined in with us and the family, they helping us. Pastor Adrian pledged support as well too. And we are hoping to do this conference in June next year.
Let me key in on something you just said. So you said pledge support.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than just praying for somebody.
Correct.
Pledging support means a whole lot more. It means I'm going to support you 100% in any possible way that I can. Am I correct? So pledging support, that's important. So if somebody says they're going to pray for you, that's wonderful. Fantastic. But when they say, hey, I am supporting you 100%, I am standing behind you, that's something amazing right there. So,
yeah, it is. Yeah. And we have reached out we actually have a minister to minister this event, which is Pastor Steve Evans and Lisa Evans of the First Assembly of God Church in Winterville.
Okay.
Yeah, they also involved in pastoral ministry as well.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I have an open invitation to Pastor Adrian and his grandfather to come.
That'll be good, right?
And also, I have extended invitation to my brother.
Yeah, because I can do some things with a camera and with a video camera that it may be helpful. Who knows? Right. So I'm still praying about it.
So it's a 3-day event. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event in June. Yeah. And you're welcome.
Yeah. This June?
Next year.
Next June. 2025.
2025. Wow.
Yeah. And you have to plan ahead that far.
Yes, you have to plan ahead. And
it's like our men's conference. We just had our men's conference, and we're already planning for next year. So, you got to do that stuff. So cool. Good deal. But now, wait a minute. So that was not. See, we went off topic. That's good. That's okay, though.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
I should have asked for permission.
No, that's perfect. No, you don't have. Matter of fact, I've had guests in here who absolutely don't care what I think. We just go. That was good. No, that's good because that's talking about some of your ministry stuff. So that's pretty cool. So, but I do want to make sure. So I think that goes to the question that we ask of our guests in how are you affecting and building into other men's lives. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's an amazing motivational, inspirational encouragement for guys who are sitting back going, there's no place for me to serve. I don't know what to do. What's God going to do with me? I mean, you answered all those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, God did all that for you because you were that guy. So that's pretty cool. So, so you think that's going to be one of your biggest ways to affect other men's lives and their ministries and stuff by some of these conferences? I mean, I know God's got other stuff too.
I would say at this point, yes. Yeah. Because if you had asked me last year, I would have said the live stream on Facebook would have been instrumental.
Sure.
But then the Lord said, no, we have more things for you.
That's just something you did. Yeah. Isn't that something? Yeah. God always has bigger plans, doesn't he?
Like coming to the U.S.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, it's a dream.
Very cool.
Very cool. Meeting you all, fellowshipping.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, and you see the growth in people. Well, I shouldn't say you always do, but certain people, you see the growth. Not that they weren't already saved and already sanctified and already serving and already worshiping, not that, but you see different areas of their lives and you can see the change in them over the years if you're paying attention, and just see some amazing things that just start to go blossom. It's pretty cool, neat stuff. I see that in you. That's pretty neat.
Thank you. Neat. But for a word of encouragement for you is that the Lord may place in your heart something that you don't understand or you're not sure what to do. The Lord is looking for soldiers in His army. It doesn't matter what you are called to do. It could be something that you know, or as with me, something that you don't have a clue in. But just remember to trust the Lord. Pray and ask for guidance.
Amen.
And He'll direct your path.
Amen. All right, so now let's go into some topical stuff here. You looked at some of the stuff I sent, and do you want to talk about some other people who've inspired you? Do you want to talk about heroes of the faith? Do you want to talk about some scriptures that specifically speak to you, or which direction you want to go on that? He's directing this podcast, so I'm gonna let him go where he wants to. I know. Which way you going on that one? I see you have some notes there, so yeah. I'm a note taker, by the way. I gotta have notes and stuff. So you already mentioned one of your favorite scriptures, but or tell some heroes of the faith. Who's your biggest hero of the faith outside of the individuals you've mentioned so far, either biblical or historical?
I would say one of the most important. There are so many important people in scriptures and Bible. You mentioned that. But I would think, Abraham.
Yeah, there you go.
Father Abraham. Yeah. He's an inspiration, and at times, you tend to, categorize yourself like maybe you feel like Abraham or you feel like Jonah, or sometimes you may feel like someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Leaving our home, I told everyone I felt like Abraham. Leaving everything.
Yeah, going, man.
Leaving and. The Lord had to bring me to a place that I had to leave everything. Yeah. All material things we had to leave and fit it into one suitcase. And what can you fit into one suitcase?
Not much.
But the most important thing was, to trust in the Lord.
Sure.
Abraham is an inspiration. Father Abraham. Yeah. Inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
And when we were leaving, I felt like Jonah in the whale.
Okay. Yeah.
In this big bubble
out there, and
this big bubble that the world saying go this way, but the Lord saying you go this way.
Yeah.
Who do you listen to?
Yeah. Well, supposed to listen to the Lord, but we don't always. Right?
Don't always.
Yeah, right.
So you have to give up on everything that you think is important,
right?
Everything that you believe, material things, and come to the Lord.
Give it all to God.
Give it all to God.
That's an old cliche. That's the cliche, but give it all to God. It works.
It works.
Yeah, sure does. Cool.
Yeah. And as well too, like Jonah, Abraham and Jonah, instrumental.
Okay, cool. All right, good deal. All right, anything else you want to share before we get into the fun part? Well, it's all fun.
It's all fun. Everything is fun.
Anything else you want to share? Before we jump into first I have to present you with your parting gifts, and then you have to give us a sports story, a sports related story. But you can't give us unless you have something else you want to share before that. You ready? You ready for the big finale? I think he's worried now. He looks a little worried.
You're the boss.
Well, no, we always want to make sure that you share what you came to share. So you had some good stuff, really awesome stuff. So we have parting gifts for you. Now, did you watch the end of the podcast to the parting gifts part?
But everybody parting gifts is different.
No, no, they're all exactly the same.
Everyone is different.
No, they're all of them are. Well, one part of it's different.
Right.
Wait a minute. We'll see. I don't know what he's saying. We'll see. But the one parting gift you get is a bottle of Mr. Bill's STEM education and Bill Ward photography hand sanitizer. That's the one gift that everybody gets.
Right.
Because I have boxes and boxes of this stuff. So I know. But so that's a shameless plug for my businesses, my company. So
thank you very much.
You get that. You also will receive, now everybody gets one of these too.
Right.
Now the difference is yours will be numbered 65.
Okay.
So that is, according to my producer, Stephen Wright, that means it makes it more valuable. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so my official Willie A. Chicago Cubs baseball card, I'll autograph that before you leave.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing, maybe this is what you're saying is different, because everybody takes a different superhero. Now, I don't know if you're familiar. Are you familiar with Marvel superheroes? Okay.
Of course, we love Marvel.
Awesome. Good. Well, then you'll know all of these, so you'll know most of them. So, now my wife just corrected me on this one. Not Blackhawk. What's his name? Nighthawk?
Nighthawk.
Okay, there you go. And then, now Gamora is a hero. I don't like the name Gamora, but that's you. And then, there's Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
And there's, I think that's Black Widow. And there's, with the X-Men, Wolverine. There's, I can't think of her name, but the blue one. She ends up being a hero too. Vision. There's, Ant-Man. That guy was one of Captain America's cohorts when they went in and took care of the communist Russians there. Rocket the Raccoon, or Rocky Raccoon, Groot, and Nick Fury. And you get to choose. Oh, and then you say to yourself, why in the world are we giving a Lego superhero?
Yeah.
You say that to yourself, right? You said that to yourself, right? You said, why is he giving me it? You did see that part.
But the most important one is not there.
Well, no, here's the most important one right here. Mine. That one, Iron Man. So, no. So here's the tie-in. Some people, if you watch the podcast, you know this. If you haven't, then you don't know this. But the Lego superhero that you get has to be constructed. So that ties in with the engineering part of my STEM classes, okay? Because we build Legos, robotics, and stuff like that. So that's one thing. The other thing is because we believe that in God's eyes, the men that come through here are superheroes. That's why you get to choose one. So, but which one?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Well, that's where'd she go? So there are female superheroes, and I was going to take the female superheroes out, and my wife is like, "Why would you do that? They're
heroes.
There you go. They're superheroes too."
Thank you.
Now you get to tell us a funny or serious or interesting sports-related story. So what you got for us?
Well, I have never been to a baseball game.
I know. That's what he told me when he got here.
Never been. You know, my wife wants to go, so eventually we will have to go.
There you go. Right. And then that'll be your sports story.
That will be my sports story.
Okay.
But my wife is a big cricket fan in our country.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which is where part of baseball evolved from.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. We watched a movie about cricket one time. Yeah. The movie was interesting, but I sure didn't understand it all. So, okay, cool. Well, maybe you guys can teach me cricket, and we'll teach you a little bit about baseball.
That's good.
Okay, cool. Thank you, sir. Listen, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Raj Ramkisson.
Yes.
Ha! See, I did it. I've been practicing all day. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys for being here. Listen, subscribe, like, share. Make sure everybody's listening to some of these inspirational stories. These guys have great stories, great backgrounds. God's doing some amazing things in their lives, and God can do amazing things in your life if you follow the greater purpose. Thank you for being here. God bless and take care.
God bless.